ドドドドラゴドドドドラゴドドドラゴンハンバードドドラゴンチャンブードドドラドラゴン無規制配信オバコンスターティーンということでね、今週も
りんごちゃんまだ言ってんのかね。
どうなのかね、もう言ってないかもね。ただ言うのは楽しいからね。ということで今週もね始まっちゃいましたね。
残念ながら
残念ながらで、まあなんと発売されたばかりの龍が如く3をね、もし今年が2009年だったら発売されたばかりの龍が如く3を遊んでるっていうね。
アンチテーゼで極みではなく元祖の HD 版を
もう配信停止されちゃったやつね。
もう買えないやつでございます。
まあ2万円ぐらい出せば買えるやつね。龍が如くコンプリートセットみたいなやつ買えば買えるんだけどね。
そうですね。
これが完全商法というものかっていう。セガたまにこういうことやるよね。ソニックのゲームとかも割とフルコレクションみたいなのを PC で買わないと遊べなかったりするよね。
そうだね。定期的にやっちゃうよね。
うん。で実際俺今遊んでるんだけどね、極みの方ね。ちょっとその違いを見るのには面白いよね。
そうだね。
今日の晩飯だ。さあ、そろそろ夕飯の支度
を元のやつは子供たちの面倒を見るのがだるいや、腰が折れるや、子供たちうざいと嘆いた人たちもいたからな。
ああ、3がね。心ないよね。
でもその舐めたことを言ってたやつらは名を消した男で号泣することになるっていう。そしてさらに8でまた泣かされるという。
そうだね。全作品遊んでると8はもうまあ類線に来るよね。
そうだね。
何かあったのか。
パンチパーマの力や。
そうだね。最新作ではこんなに
現代的になったんだよね。
そうだね。こんなにコミカルな風貌ではないもんね。
元祖では逆に今なのにこうはぶってるっていう。昔のこうはぶってる。
そうだね。結構今のやつだいぶ違うけど、でもこの時も頑張ってたよね。
そうだね。だいぶ頑張ってたね。
ただまあこれはこれで HD 版ではあるから、
まあね。
実際の、
元祖 PS3 版はもうちょっとザラザラ
そうだね。
してるっていう。
俺持ってるから今度起動してみるかな。PS3 で元祖の
この元祖3の方は死ぬほど面白いひらめきクエストがあって、極み版では残念ながらモーションを取り直すのが大変すぎるというので
お金もだいぶかかるっていう
カットになっちゃったっていう
らしいんだけどね。あれはカットしてほしくなかったんだけど、でも3極みって結構サブクエストっていうかミニゲームが豊富だからさ、今のところ遊んでて、ひらめき技のひらめきクエストまで入れたらちょっとミニゲームが渋滞しすぎるかもなっていう。
しかもこれのやつには妙なVR のミニゲームもあったね。
3
ゴールデン街の空き地のところに。
3だったっけ？
いやだって3でしょ。だって巨大なサイコデブとポリゴンのサイコデブと戦うみたいなのあったじゃない。
宮迫が声を当ててるキャラクターね。神田だっけ？
神田だったっけ？
だったような気がする。
見てこれ
ほとわらこれなんでやねんって今のうちにムービーが流れてる間に今のうちに自己紹介しとく？
そうだね。どうも異世界パラレルワールドからやってきました平沢進
久しぶりに聞いたわそれ、
最近言う機会がなかった。
確かにね。
アシュラクロック道を走るクロッカーよアシュラクロック
名曲だよね。アシュラクロック
ドンドンクロック
ドンドンドンドンドンドンドンドンドンドンいい曲だよね。アシュラクロック。
悪い子はワンヤンアグダのアシュラコロッケをしている、ね、
アシュラコロッケあったな。そんなタイトルのエロ漫画あったな。
ワンヤンアグダ大先生は平沢進の大ファンであったから。
そういえばそうだった、ね、
衝撃皆さん衝撃を受けるかもしれませんが私はワンヤンアグダで平沢進を知りましたから
そうなの、ベルセルクのアニメ
ベルセルク前にワンヤンアグダの漫画を読んでたから
あの頃は、新しい極みの方にアッコさん出てるけどね。今コメント来ましたね。
悪にお願い
お任せじゃなくてね。今コメント来ましたね。先週遊びに来なかったみぼりにみぼ、我々がね、
名を消したみぼり
我々がみぼり氏と呼んでいるね。
みぼりゅうになった、
みぼりゅう、方からねコメントが来ましたね。いつもねみぼりさんはすごいなんだろう絵文字だけで表現しているコメントをね残してくださるのでね、それをね我々が解読して、文字に書き換えてそれをプロンプトにして可視化するという遊びをいつもやってるんだけどね。なのでね今からみぼりさんのねコメントを口頭でお伝えしたいと思います。猫、サングラスをかけている猫と土下座をしているスーツの人5人とまたサングラスをかけてる猫。これはもうこのゲームにちなんでかな、ヤクザかな。
そうだね。
でこれは猫が2人っていうことはあれなのかな、杯、猫の親分と猫の新人、猫の親方と新人のヤクザが、杯を交わしてるところとかかな。いやでもお辞儀土下座してるからあれか、偉いよねどっちも多分。東上会と近江連合が手を組む場面。
いやあれでしょ桐生ちゃんが左右の河原屋に行くときに大軍の真島組の人たちが道を開けてお辞儀して2人を出迎えるっていう
ヤクザお辞儀をしてるところね。そのシーンを猫に書き換えてるっていう。じゃあこれは、反社会的な組織を束ねている猫2匹にもう大量の、反社会勢力の人たちが、敬意を表してお辞儀をしている場面っていうのはどうかな。
そういうことなのかな。
いいねをいただきましたね。みぼりさんからいいねの絵文字をいただいたのでね。じゃあそういうプロンプトにしてね、ちょっと今画像を作ってみますね。で実際君は異世界平沢進ではないよね。
まあ それはパラレルワールドの話であって、本当の私はシェリーです。
シェリーなの？異世界でもなく？
どうもシェリーです。シャバ像の気流員がなんかなめたことを言ってるけど、お前ずっとヒルナンデス出てる時に排外主義とか考えてるのか、それとも私に毎週お前たちの無能さを説教されたことに精神が病んで排外主義のクソファシストになったのか。
気流院？松陰寺の話。
松陰寺。
松陰寺。そういえば同じ時期にヒルナンデスに出てたもんね。
毎週お前らの無能さを説教してたからな。何にも言わないつまらないコメントをする。ロケもつまらない。
だからでも結局シェリーは当たってはいたよね。説教するぐらい結果を残せてなかったけど、実際にペコパほぼ消えたもんね。だからもう
お前もフィーフィーの後釜になれると思って純国産の排外主義になろうとしてるけど、お前はその顔じゃねえんだよ。
あれだよね、
なめんなよ。
勢いに乗りそうだったのに乗れなかった芸人って排外主義に走り出すよね。なんかマシンガンズとかもそうだしさ。
ヘズマリュウとか
ヘズマリュウは芸人じゃないよね。
芸人もどきのカス YouTuber のカス犯罪者でしょ。
でもなんかああいう感じだよね。ポリシーがないっていうか、同性排外主義者とか排斥主義とかレイシストに走るんだったら、もうちょっとポリシーを持ってやってほしいよね。なんか急にパッと出でそういうのを叫び出すのもなんだかなっていうのはあるよね。
お前も
随分サイは違うね、顔が。
そうだね。お前もダサール石井を黙らせたみたいなことをネットに書いてもらったけどおめえの言ってたことがあまりにも的外れで絶句してみんな黙ってたんだよ、バーカ。
まあ実際はそういう感じだよね。あれだからね、いろいろ言ったけど、やっぱり付け焼き場っていうかさ、なのが分かるのが、本人が
戦争止めてくるとかマジでキモかったから
まあそれはさ、一意見としてアホだなっていう、一意見として最悪一意見として受け入れられるけどさ、一番愚かだなって思うのが普通に円安の発言でさ、いやでも円安って我々日本人は円の国で生活しているので、円安になっても私たちが払うお金は変わりませんからみたいな、嘘でしょってぐらい見当外れのことを言ってて、それがもう割とビビるぐらいアホな発言でね。いやいや、円安でどれだけ物価が高くなっていくかってもう全ての食品を輸入している日本が円安で全く影響ないっていうのはありえないじゃんって、ちょっとビビっちゃうよね、アホさ加減にはね。
狭山の顔こんなに違ってた。
すごい違うね。でもなんか不思議とこっちの方が割とリアル。
そうだね。
なんかもうちょっと造形がリアルだよね。顎のラインがもう少しがっしりしてる、っていうかさ、なんだろう、もしかしたらもうちょっとだけ兄貴に似てるかも。ねえ。
一応元のやつは遊んでない人に対してはネタバレですけど、関西の竜に少し似せたようにしてたのか、ね、
なのかな、顔の造形ちょっともう少し顎のラインがっしりしてて、もうちょっと丸顔でなんだろう、目元がシャキッとしてる、なんか、カッっていう圧がもうちょっとあるね、もうちょっと強そうだね、狭山。
時を戦時中の日本に戻す
時を戻すってそういう意味だったんだ
ファシストのドイツと手を組んでた時に戻そう
でもああいうのが一番アホくせえなって思うのは、結局 下火にかかるからそういうふうなことに手を出すっていうね。
まあでも所詮お前らが売れなくなったのはなめ腐った嘘で薄っぺらい傷つかない漫才みたいななめたことをやってたから、本心はツイッターの裏垢でそういう嫌がらせを立憲とかの政治家にやってたんだろ。で見当違いすぎることを言ってブロックキモって思ってブロックされてたんだろ。それでやった勝ったってなめた風なことを思ってたんだろ。
大体なんかネトウヨの人ってなんかブロックされると俺の勝ちみたいな風になんか中二病こじらせてるやつみたいな風に言うよね。いや普通にお前
じゃあ逆に今
ね、
俺ツイッター始めてお前に死ぬほど見当違いな嫌がらせを書いたらお前がブロックしたらざまあみろって言っていいんですか。
いやだからそういう
お前が逃げたら俺は笑っていいんですか。
まあだからそういうことだよね。要はそのわざわざただ単に嫌がらせみたいな風にやったら人にブロックされるわなっていう。
そうだ今ツイッターを始めて本物のシェリーって名乗って説教しまくってやろうか。
お前多方面から訴えられるぞ。
目を赤くして本物のシェリーっていう風なアカウントにしてお前ヒルナンデスでも政治でも滑ってんな。
いやいろんな人に迷惑かけるよそれは。
いやでも本物のシェリーかっこ嘘って
かっこ嘘かっこパロディアカウントみたいな、そこまではっきりやらないとダメだからね。パロディアカウントって
かっこパロディアカウントかっこでも
うぜえなすげえうぜえな。
それだけうざかったら分かってくれるでしょう。
いやでもうざさが勝って何も入ってこないわ。
私はまだ極道を信じてません。もし登場界の跡目が桐生さんじゃないなら。
これはこれで
お前らも後なんか路線チェンジしようとしてずっと滑ってんもんな。
誰の
悪口にシフトした漫才もクソつまんなかったな。
ペコパの話。
カムロ町を去る前にやることはやってくはずだ。
そう
ま
あそもそもお前の采配はシュウペイを性格悪いキャラに変えた時に人気が終わったからな。その瞬間に毎回ロンハーでシュウペイをいじってた有吉が鬼ざめして二度とシュウペイに振らなくなったからな。言えばすぐにギャグや他人のギャグをやってくれるのを面白がってやってたのに、お前がいやそんなのに乗らずに突っぱねればいいみたいなクソみたいなアドバイスやってシュウペイを殺したからな。
まあどうしてもなんか自分が中心でいたいタイプの人なんじゃない。なんか裏回しのつもりで
多分シュウペイが人気が出て悔しかったんじゃない
かもね。今コメントが来ましたね。I have a comment from Salya. Salya says, "Hey, hello there." Hello Salya, how are you doing? As you can see, we are playing Yakuza 3 Kiwami.
No,
Absolutely not.
No, we're playing Yakuza 3 Demastered
or delisted. Yakuza 3 delisted edition. Since I've been playing the Kiwami edition that just came out like 2 weeks ago. Just for fun, Jenny is streaming the original HD version of it, just to see how like different it is. Saya says, "Dame da ne, dame yo, dame nano yo, anta ga suki de suki sugite."
どれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない思い出がバカみたい。
I think one of the greatest songs to come out of a game.
That and the 24-hour Cinderella.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that song too. Yeah. Salia says, I love that song is even in Ishin for the Baka Mitai song. Yeah, the Ishin version is really cool. I really enjoyed that one. It's interesting because the HD version of this game, although very different from the Kiwami version, it kind of does have its own style, and it does kind of hold up fairly well, huh? It's kind of charming. Huh?
Yeah. Since it's old, Kiryu-chan is more blocky.
Yeah, he's more blocky. He's the size of his head is pretty different.
Yeah.
He's about the size of his head is about 6 heads worth of his entire body. The newer one, he's about 8 to 9. He's more slim, huh?
Yeah.
Sayo says, I've heard a lot of people complaining about Yakuza 3, but I don't know if they mean the new one or this one. Probably both, because interestingly, I personally really like 3, but a lot of people said it was the weakest one out of the entire series. But I actually really liked it.
A lot of people complained that that they didn't like that you had to tend to the kids in your foster home so much.
Yeah, and it's kind of strange. They really chopped the progression of the story up in like slice of life, taking care of an orphanage, and then high stakes kind of mafia, Chinese mafia, Japanese yakuza, government officials, and CIA kind of at each other kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a strange. The game pace is kind of strange.
Yeah.
But it was strangely charming, in my opinion. In the newer one, they tried to make it more that you can still focus on the story if you want to, and you don't have to. You're not forced to follow the children's side quests, which is kind of sad because I don't think you really get this game unless you really play the side quests with all the kids and get to see their side stories and see how Kiryu becomes more of a father figure and develops more kind of he becomes a lot more protective of his children. That is a lot of the what's important in the later Ryuka Gotoku Yakuza series ones, because he is so protective of the children in the orphanage that he'll do anything to do that, and that's kind of the driving force behind his decision making in the next 3 installments of the game. So so it's kind of too bad. Sayo says, isn't Kiryu's thing to rebuild the orphanage he grew up as a kid? Oh yeah, so this one, the orphanage that he grew up as a kid, after the Kazama, the yakuza that raised him, passed away, the orphanage was shut down because they lost funding. But the patriarchy of the Kazama, one of his friends, also that he was also putting funding out. He was putting out he was funding an orphanage in Okinawa also, and the friend that was running that orphanage said that asked Kiryu if he was interested in taking over the orphanage. So instead of rebuilding the orphanage that he grew up in, he took over a different orphanage that his non-biological father helped fund in Okinawa.
Yeah.
Hence the reason of him going to Okinawa, because there's a lot of there's apparently a fairly good amount of orphans in Okinawa, because there's a lot of problems with like one of the kids that comes out in the orphanage is mixed race. So we told you like last week that there's a lot of rape accounts in Okinawa by the local presence of the American Air Force.
Yeah.
and the naval bases. So, yeah.
And also Okinawa is also famous for that the divorce rate is the highest in Japan.
Divorce rate is the divorce rate is highest in Okinawa out of any of the prefectures and cities in Japan. So that probably also has to do with it. I always like these kooky animations that they'd have the delinquents, the stupid gangsters. I like how comically like over the top, stupid evil their like animations are.
And I continue to say this all the time, but it's like hilarious. It's like, look at him. He looks like he can kick anybody's ass, and these idiots are like, "Yo, old man, give me some money."
Yeah.
It's like,
really? Did you look at the dude that you're selling a fight to? Yeah. So it says, I'm surprised there's even divorces in Japan, considering how self-sacrifice and family first your society is. Well, I guess. Well, the divorce rate kind of skyrocketed a little after the Kodo Keizai Seichoki, the after the baby boomer people started to kind of get into retirement age, because a lot of the people didn't get a divorce because they stayed together for their children, but once their children left off and made their own families and their husbands were retiring, a lot of people kind of got a divorce around then too. So. And I guess that kind of got into the more modern idea of, well, you shouldn't, you don't have to stick in there that long for your family. If you feel that it's not good for your children, then maybe you should get a divorce, kind of thing. So I guess probably toward the I guess maybe the mid '80s it started becoming a lot more normal. That's also about the time when women started to have more prominent roles in the working force, I guess. It was starting to shift around there where people where the female workforce was starting to be able to start getting, like management positions also. That probably also has to do with it, so.
Yeah. Well, back until the mid 80s, people didn't really get divorced because, like most women, it was like it's your job to stay at home.
Kind of, I guess. But after everyone has to work now, and a lot of people have to double work, both parents, right? So, yeah. So it's harder. I guess it might be harder to keep a family together now.
Yeah. The other day I was talking to this about my aunt, but currently in Japan, the average income for a single person, if you take out the gas, food, and like cell phone bills and all that,
things that you absolutely need.
You only have like 2 mon, which is about like $200 left.
Yeah, but directly in dollars, that would be like $125 or something.
Yeah, currently, because of how weak the yen is.
Yeah.
So
and that's not getting any others. That's not doing any other stuff for like hobby or side stuff, and just in case kind of things. If you get sick,
and that's saying that you make the average income, which most people do not make the average income.
Yeah. So yeah, and taxes are going up, and the wage isn't going up, and the price of food and living is going up too. So now it's coming to the point where it's not about the divorce rate; it's about like people are just not going to get married now.
So like if the average person only has about $200 extra, then a married couple only has, if they both work, they only have about $400, and the cost of a child and raising a child
and putting them in school.
And putting them in school is way more than 400. So
yeah, so it just doesn't make sense to have a family, even if you are married, honestly. Financially.
Yeah.
That might also be a part with people more casually getting divorced too, because a lot of couples that are married don't have children too.
Yeah.
So it's easier to get divorced maybe.
Yeah, because they just can't afford to sustain life together. And Japan is one of the countries that has the least benefits for having children. So
yeah, it's crazy.
You lose so much money raising your children and like that.
Yeah. Sally says, yeah. And then boomers complain because we are not buying gold and having children. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, where the hell do you think I'm going to get that money and the time?
Yeah.
People don't even have enough time to meet each other anymore. You know, it's not just about money. Like you're working so much. The average person works so much that, you know, they don't have, not only do they not have the money to have a relationship and build a family, they don't have the time to actually meet each other and like go out and dating and, you know, get to know other people.
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes see information from America, but I see things of young people saying that they are so tired from working that all they do is just sleep when they go home.
Yeah.
And they have no hobbies or anything. They just work and sleep because they're just so tired from working like 10, 12 hours a day to just keep living.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in Japan too. You know. Because people can't afford to live, a lot of people can't afford to live in the heavily populated city area, so they live in bed towns. So you have to ride a train for like 2 hours going and back. So you have 4 hours commute time. You maybe watch a movie or watch anime on the train on your smartphone. That's your hobby.
Yeah.
Thing. And then by the time you get home, you're like exhausted and you need to go to sleep because you need to wake up 3 hours earlier to get ready and then ride the train for 2 hours to head into the office and, you know.
Yeah, and then the government expects you to like have sex every day so that you'll have like 12 children.
Yeah, and like when you have children, you have to live even further away from the city.
Yeah.
So, because people can't afford to have a house or an apartment. Like, I know a friend of mine that actually did go bankrupt buying a house because the loans were so tight, and you know, like the wage didn't go up after that, and everything got more expensive. So the bank came in and took their house, and you know, terrible situation.
Yeah. Yeah, the Tokyo area is becoming unlivable. The rent is getting so expensive.
Oh yeah, but actually going back to the you hearing people complaining about Yakuza 3, on the Kiwami side, I think people are complaining about the newer one because they did change a lot of the game.
Yeah.
So it's almost a new game. The story, of course, is the same, but like they changed almost all the side quests. So people who play the original one can go ahead and play all the side quests and have fun because it's totally different. So is it a remake or something? Yeah, it's a total remake. They actually build it from scratch with the newer assets and the newer engine. So none of the assets in the older ones are in it. So they had to remake everything, which is one of the reasons why they took out some of the quests in the original one that people really liked. There's an entire quest line of quests in this version of it that you get epiphanies on on new fighting moves, and they're hilarious. They're truly hilarious. Some of the funniest movies in the entire series. I love those. And you write about these epiphanies on your blog and stuff. Yeah. It's really fun, but they took all of that out in the newer one because the movie scenes that they made for that, making that fully from scratch again, would be really, really costly. So apparently they took that out. Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that I miss, but also one of the reasons why it's nice to have the original, this one, in HD. But this is the other area of why I think people are probably complaining, is that you can't buy this version of the game anymore. They delisted it.
Yeah.
So we're playing the one that we bought a long time ago and own, right?
Yeah.
So we can access it, but you can't buy it anymore. The only way to buy it right now is if you buy the Yakuza collection. That's all of the games thrown in together as a bundle for like a couple $100. Then it's there. So you have to shell out a good chunk of money to access this version of the game. Now, and that they honestly should be shat on for doing that. Every once in a while, Sega does this. You know, they did that with the Sonic collection one. Huh.
Yeah.
They delisted a couple of the Sonic games. Was it Sonic Generations, the original one, they delisted when they released a new one. The only way you can get the original one is in the Sonic collection.
I think so, yeah.
So for some reason, Sega does this once in a while, and people shit on them for doing it, rightfully. They just don't learn. Why not allow people to buy different versions of the same game? You know, like, recently Capcom's been releasing the older version of some of their games, you know. Like Dino Crisis was added to Steam recently. It was on GOG before, but you know, they released the original Resident Evil on GOG. Like, was it like last year or 2 years ago?
I think so, something like that, yeah.
So it says, yeah, but Dino Crisis has DRM now, which is super, super stupid. Oh, that fucking sucks. Wasn't like GOG, didn't GOG not have DRM? Can you get that on GOG also, or in the case with Dino Crisis was just like Steam? But that super sucks. I don't like, people still get around it. Salif says, yeah, GOG doesn't have the arm. Oh, okay, well at least there's that. But the thing that's annoying about GOG is that since you have to buy things in dollars and the yen being so like weak now,
yeah,
I hardly ever use it now because I have to like pay about 70% more than the asking price.
Yeah.
Because they sell it in dollars. So. But I guess those games are fairly cheap in first place though, so I guess it's not that bad. But yeah, I don't get why they throw DRM in so many, especially a lot of Japanese companies like throw DRM in a lot of games. But it's like people still get around that, so I don't really see the point. I think they lose more money in the sales when they do that than they do from like stopping people from pirating the game. It actually encourages people to pirate the game. So.
Yeah.
Whoa, Nishida looks totally different in this.
Yeah. You saw you go through this one so long ago. I forgot how different it was compared to the Kiwami ones.
Yeah, it is really different, huh?
Yeah.
One thing that's definite is that the newer version, the Kiwami version of it, does control a lot better. The fighting is pretty clunky in this one.
Yeah.
And the animations are really stiff.
Yeah, this was the first one that you could move the camera around.
Yeah,
The original 1, 2 were fixed cameras.
Yeah, it was fixed camera. So 3 was the first one. It was an early PS3 game. It was the first Yakuza game that you could control the camera in.
Yeah.
So actually, I kind of enjoy the original 2 Yakuza games on the PS on the PS2 also, because since they're fixed camera games, it does have its own kind of style. It's really hard to play a fighting game that way though. You know, kind of like, I guess, like the original Onimusha games.
Yeah. It can be pretty tedious, yeah.
So he says, "Sorry, I just realized that I didn't ask how you were doing." Oh. Well, thanks for asking. How are you doing, Jenny?
A little better. It hasn't been anywhere as cold as it was for a while, so.
Oh yeah, and it was actually pretty warm today, which is nice.
It was hot. I was sweating while I was out. Yeah.
So spring is finally coming, so that's nice. Pollen is terrible though. I hear people that have a lot of pollen issues are like, dreading next month.
Yeah.
Luckily, you and I both don't really. It's not like we get insane headaches and, you know, we have trouble breathing with the pollen. But yeah. Sally says, "Yeah, my sakura tree is already flowering." Oh, so I guess it's pretty warm over there then. Over here, it will still be. It's supposed to be a little bit on the warmer side this spring, so I assume that will probably be mid-March probably for the sakura.
Probably, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think there are really any around the area we live.
Oh, along the river there is.
Around there, I guess. Yeah.
But it's cool that you have a sakura tree. Is it in your yard? So there's also, I'm pretty sure you would know way better than me, but sakura cherries are not edible, right? Well, the specific type of sakura in Japan that is most widely planted is the type of one called the Somei Yoshino. And this cherry blossom actually doesn't have any cherries. So what's kind of interesting about this specific type of sakura is they can't reproduce. Technically, they don't, you know, they don't have like cherries. They don't have any fruit. So people actually have to raise them, like cutting off branches and then using that as you know, it's called tsugiki and other things to try to grow them. So it says, yes, I bought it years ago. The people who sold it to me told me I wouldn't have the balls to have it grow here since it's super hard, but here it is. A bit messy, not tall, but more like a bush, but flowering and giving fruit. Wow, that's impressive, because I do know that it is a lot of care for the sakura trees. They're pretty sensitive apparently. So yeah, so the ones in Japan that people generally look at don't bear any fruit or cherries. The sakurambo tree that actually does have the Japanese cherry on it is a slightly different one. The flowers don't really blossom that long, huh?
Yeah.
And I would assume that it's probably closer to the Yamazakura that actually grows fairly early compared to the Somei Yoshino type ones. So I assume that maybe your sakura tree is closer to the mountain sakura that maybe bloom a little bit earlier than the Somei Yoshino type ones. Saya says, yeah, the flowers on mine die in like 3 days. Oh, okay. So I assume that yeah, they're probably close. The sakura tree that you have is closer to the mountain sakura, which is the ancestor of the sakura trees that were specifically designed to have long life. The flowers would bloom longer. I assume probably that is why, like, they probably tried to they tried mixing different ones, I think, to try to get it get ones that don't bear fruit. Probably that helps the flowers to bloom longer, I assume. Not really an expert in like flowers and trees, but I assume that maybe. So I said I just wanted to have a piece of Japan in my house. Well, that's one of the best pieces of Japan you can have, because I do think probably sakura are probably my favorite flowers, and like because of the sakura trees in Japan, that's probably spring is probably my favorite season of all. So it says, I think for me it's sakura flowers then lilies. Ah, lilies are beautiful too. I think my favorite flower is probably the sakura blossoms when they blossom, the sakura flowers. And I think I probably like, design-wise, I really like the spider lily. They're also very seasonal flowers too, so. Well, they kind of represent a specific season in Japan too, so. And then I guess 3 would be asagao. I'm not sure what that would be in English. Do you know what asagao is in English? No, wait. No, probably ajisai maybe, more than asagao. So I guess I always like the more seasonal flower. The ajisai kind of are in the season when there's the rain season in Japan. So it kind of reminds me of that specific time, I guess. Salia says, we have a flower here called the midnight flower. It only flowers during midnight and dies before sunrise. Ah, that's pretty cool. Poetic, even. Let me take a look, check on the internet, like to see what it looks like.
I forgot what it was, but there are some flowers in Japan too that only blossom at night. Yeah, I totally forgot what the name of it was.
Okay, so it says, yeah, look for Dama de Noche Flor. Okay, I'll check that right now. Midnight Lady, sorry, not Midnight Flower. Okay, let's see. I'll check that up right now. Oh, very pretty and exotic looking too. Look pretty cool. I guess since they only bloom during the night, I guess that might be why they're fairly pale in color. They're white and elegant looking. I'll just show Jenny.
Yeah, I see.
So it says, I sent you an image, but my mother loves that one. Ah, okay. Let me see. I'll check right now. It is a very beautiful flower. pretty. I'll show Jenny.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty and exotic, yet also very elegant. I've always liked flowers, but never really got into learning a lot about them. I have a couple of books about flowers. I should go into reading them. So it says, it reminds me of a white dress of ballerina. Yeah, it does very much look like a ballerina's dress. Very elegant. It also looks like it could be the bottom side of a spider monster that would come out in Monster Hunter. That red one, you know.
Yeah.
But much more elegant than that, of course. So it says, yeah, it could be a Lalabarina subspecies. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That reminds me, but you might want to be looking into some kind of alternative for Discord because of the shit that they're in and they're causing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The face recognition thing that they're gonna put in. Well, they said that they'll push it back to the end of the year.
Yeah,
but still.
it's face recognition / monitoring everything you write / accessing your bank information and personal information / if they think that you're a terrorist or if you criticize the government, they'll freeze your bank assets.
Well, if they deem you a terrorist, they'll freeze your bank assets. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty severe case. But
yeah, but
Sally says, you talking about Discord? Yeah, we're talking about Discord. Is that Persona company and the KID company that Discord is partnering with to do the facial recognition?
That's actually not that, but it's just some paper company that Palantir is using to try to deceive people to think
they invested in the company.
Some kind of other company.
Well, they invested in the company, but yeah, it's a pretty sus company, so people are super worried about that, obviously. Well, I guess we'll have to see. People are so pissed about that. Sayo says, yeah, it seems we all go back to team speak like the good old times. It seems like we will have to go to alternatives, definitely. I'm pretty sure even if they're like, yeah, we'll look into this and how we can make this work for everyone, that they'll, Sayo says, or worse, Skype. Yeah. Didn't they kill Skype, though?
Yeah, Microsoft's killed Skype.
It's just Teams now. That's like so stupid. Like, just keep the brand that people recognize you with, not Teams. Like, no one recognizes Teams, like, unless you're like in a mega corporation company that wants to use something that doesn't sound like it's like a consumer product. So yes, I had a job interview today in Teams, and I don't like it. Yeah, I hear a lot of people really don't like Teams. So
Yeah.
I've never used it because I haven't really heard anything good about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any friends that I do like voice chat with, so I don't know anything about those ones. All these tech companies are just trying to make everybody hate the internet and go offline.
Yeah.
They're like, lol, we're going to control everything that people do and monitor everything, and people are like, fuck you, I'm going offline, and they'll be like, where did everybody go?
Yeah. Asali says, does Kiryu ever get a love interest? Actually, in Ryu ga Gotoku 2, he kind of does. Well, he actually, yeah, he does. But actually, if you go into after this cutscene, if you go into Kiryu's room, you can see a picture of his love interest.
Yeah.
He's cute in that way that he puts a picture up of the person that he does care for that he knows he can never be with since she's a cop.
Yeah. Well, she's a detective.
Yeah. But yeah, he had a love interest in too. It turned into love, and they both parted ways because one's a former organized crime leader, one's an elite detective that becomes CIA.
Yeah.
So he says, yeah, he is definitely a male tsundere. I don't know if there is a term for that. I guess you would probably just use tsundere also, maybe. Huh.
I guess, yeah.
立ち退きって書いてあるけど、私たち出ていかないといけないのかな。最近知らない男の人たちもよく来ている。
His sideburns were a little bit longer in the earlier games, huh?
Yeah. They were, yeah.
So it says also Requiem tomorrow, huh? Yeah, I haven't read any of the reviews, but they do seem to be really good. So the numbers are for the score for the reviews on like Metacritic are really high. So I'm assuming that it will be a banger, hopefully, right? It looks good, everything I've seen of it. So it says you were going to save for Stories 3, right? Yeah, I was juggling between that and Stories 3 and after playing a couple of horror games, I'm kind of a little bit in a mood for kind of a more lighter kind of fantasy story that's colorful and everything.
Now real life is more of a nightmare than a horror, so yeah. I mean, what's really going on makes Biohazard look light. Yeah, you have celebrities and the ultra rich doing human sacrifices and eating people and raping people, and drinking their blood and stuff like that.
At least it's only the zombies that do that in games. But
they have to be undead and brain dead to do that.
Yeah. So stories will definitely give you more game hours. Yeah, it definitely will. But I do hear that Requiem is very replayable. So I'm pretty sure that will get a good amount of game hours too.
Replayable. Yeah. In what kind of way?
Well, it's fun, I guess, and I guess well, like I said, I haven't read the reviews, just like some small comments here and there because I don't want spoilers or anything. But actually, I don't really mind spoilers, but still, although it doesn't bother me too much, I don't actively go out there to try to look for stuff. But apparently, it's pretty replayable. So I've said, did I tell you that I managed to beat RE3 OG in 2 hours, a rank without dying or saving? Oh, really? No, you didn't tell me that. Congratulations. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that I was streaming your playthrough of Code Veronica, and checked it out. So much more elegant than Jenny's playthrough.
How rude.
Code Veronica. Yeah. I'll check out the YouTube for that then. Because I don't think I've actually seen the original RE3. I played the remake of RE3, but although I do own the physical version of the PS1 RE3, I don't think I've actually played the original one. So it says, well, I've beaten it like 20 times. It's normal. But still, no death is is no easy task still, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that without like the bazooka.
But yeah, I'll definitely check out that 2-hour A rank no dying playthrough of RE3 then. Like I said, I never played the original one, I think. Jenny was actually kind of pondering on whether she should play the Resident Evil 1 HD remaster or the Resident Evil 0 HD remaster for the stream today.
I was pondering doing that kind of as a joke instead of the new one.
Mm-hmm. So it's what I call chicken. Though I run away from Nemesis like a coward. But I guess that's probably the right way to approach Nemesis, though, huh?
Probably.
Because you can only like you can't beat him, right? You can only like make him like stumble for a while.
とにかく子供たちが怖がってるんだ。もう二度と顔見せるんじゃねえ。
Salia says, I also did a run of Alone in the Dark 1. It's on YouTube if you want to see where Resident Evil came from. Oh yeah, that's also one I haven't played. Did they have the original Alone in the Dark, like HD remaster on Xbox or something?
I don't remember if they had the original. There's that recent one that came out.
Says, I think it was Alone in the Dark 4 and the remake. Okay. I remember back in the day, like, on the Sega Saturn, there was, like, a Alone in the Dark 1 port. And, I remember thinking, hey, whoa, this looks really cool back in the day, but... I'll check that out, too. I'm interested in, like, because I don't really recall watching gameplay of that before, so I'm interested in seeing how it, in a way, I guess, the RE series borrowed or was inspired from it. So it says, yeah, Alone in the Dark 1 was the first 3D survival horror. Was the, since it's such a iconic and historically important game, I was wondering how the new remake of it was. I haven't really heard much of that. Was that any good, by any chance?
I have no idea either.
So it says which one? Which one? Sorry, I had the volume way too high. Oh, the remake of one that recently, they came out like a year and a half or 2 years ago. I heard that it didn't sell that great, so I wasn't sure if it was like it didn't sell because people weren't really interested, or if it was like not made well or something. The remake had like the two main characters were famous actors playing them, though, huh? So it says it's not going to be as good as Resident Evil game, but it's fun to play. It just changed the story a lot. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll pick that up when it's on sale sometime then. If it's a... I have no problem with survival horror games that are fun to play, so... Nikia's pretty tough, actually. This early on, without having very much of the Kiryu's skills unlocked.
What the hell? Take advantage of all the chairs.
Yeah, that's the best way to go.
Brute force.
I guess that's more realistic. It would be throwing chairs at people.
I forgot that this one had this system in it.
Oh.
Now the table. The tables have turned.
Tables have turned.
Literally.
Literally. So it says, which game was the one there you could summon a chicken? That would be 7, huh?
Yeah.
7 and 8, actually.
Yeah.
Both of those you can summon a chicken. Yeah, the summoning chicken magic is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
All the extra magic skills that you can get in 7 and 8 are all pretty hilarious, huh?
Yeah.
The rent a hero kind of ones that you can call or summon, those are pretty fun, huh?
The delivery help.
The delivery help ones. Well, actually, I just noticed right now that on the app side, that that when you typed in chicken, it censored chicken. Weird. So you can't even like.
Well, because
what?
Because people use that as an offense towards people. What are you, a chicken?
Well, you can type chicken in, but I guess in the context that Salia wrote up when he was talking about running away from Nemesis, I guess in that context they don't allow. They censor chicken? That's weird. Salia says, that is why my speedrun is chicken. Oh, it didn't censor it this time, though. That's weird. I wonder if Mexican chicken burrito would be censored.
Such a mystery.
So it says, do you have the channel or do you want me to send you the links? Oh, I have the your YouTube channel. I have your YouTube channel, so I'll check it up. While I'm working, I'll just stream it and check it out. So it says, ah, ha, ha, ha. Also, I made it again. So you have Mexican chicken burrito. Ah. Mexican chicken burrito is not censored. Strange. So it says auto mod strikes again. Yeah, the auto mod is like really like schizophrenic here, huh? On
It's wonky and really sensitive about that, but I've never gotten any of that kind of shit streaming or like that. But I do hear some trans people complaining that Twitch does not like do any of that kind of stuff towards like offensive things towards trans people.
Really? So it says, yeah, even Twitch sent me an alert saying if I really wanted to post it, an auto mod has been. Wow, that is really weird.
Are you sure you really want to offend chickens?
Does that have to do with that weird thing where some musicians are sacrificing chickens in a like voodoo ritual kind of thing? Like Azealia Banks was doing that or something? I don't know. I wonder if it has to do with that.
Think of the chickens. The poor chickens.
A weird some strange information about chicken sacrifices that might be interesting to you, Saliev. Trivia, I guess. Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan, the entire company in Japan, is slightly ran differently than Kentucky Fried Chicken in America. Like a different company manages it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anywho, Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan, every year, the president of Kentucky Fried Chicken Japan and most of the a lot of the higher management all go to a shrine once a year and pray and thanks all the souls of the chickens that died for Kentucky Fried Chicken. Strange trivia, but yeah, basically every year that comes out in the news, huh?
Yeah.
The video, all the management of Kentucky Fried Chicken Japan going to a shrine and honoring the dead souls of the chickens that they sacrificed for everyone to eat fried chicken in Japan. Salia says, gotta be grateful with the animals that die so you can live. Absolutely, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a vegan, but I try to be a little more conscious about how much meat I eat. You know, a little bit goes a long way. So,
well, it's always important not to buy more than you can eat.
Yeah, because you know, I am against like how poorly a lot of the animals in those places are treated. So. They really changed the design of this character, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they actually had an actor play him in this.
Yeah, the new one is an actual actor.
A famous actor, actually, huh?
Yeah. It doesn't take humanity to think about things like that.
The Darwin incident animation, was it?
Yeah.
says, I'm against some kind of animal killings, like with shrimp or snails you kill dozens just to eat one meal. At least a cow will feed an entire family for days. Yeah, I guess that's probably true too. When was it like our father, when he was young, he lived like out in the desert, and yeah, so they would hunt, and they said that like one deer would feed the entire family over a winter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess like compared to now with like the scale of mass-produced meat is so large that a lot of it goes to waste too, you know. So yeah, that's one thing that I do think that people, well, like I said, I am cautious about like how much meat intake I have. So because, you know, although it is like might be kind of hypocritical, I don't think it's bad to be aware of things like that. So
eating responsibly.
yeah, I do think maybe when I get a little bit older, and I think I've had enough. I might just go vegan then, though, maybe, depending on my health, though, you know, because I do understand it. Depending on some people do need the specific proteins from that, like, you know, our mother has had health problems all her life, and sometimes it does help her feel physically better to have like a nice steak once in a while. So yeah. So I said, yeah, not everyone can go vegan. Yeah, depending on the person's body, it's definitely, yeah. Some people can't really. So again, balance is the most important thing. So, which also is, you know, being more conscious about what you eat and how was, you know, how you eat.
Yeah.
野党からは鈴木氏の沖縄リゾート開発にタミヤ氏が便乗する形で強引に米軍基地拡大法案を進めようとしているのではないかと疑問の声が上がっています。地元の住民の反応はどうなんでしょうか。
基地がまた拡大するのは嫌だけど、リゾートで沖縄が潤うんだったらまあいいのかなって。お隣の国がミサイルを撃つっつったって。
It's interesting because I saw an article written by a freelance journalist that lives in Japan. That's a foreign journalist that specifically is a journalist for criminal organizations around the world. And he stayed in Japan a long time, covering a lot of the Yakuza and stuff. He was actually on hit list for a while. Seriously, he was. The guy that put a hit on him, that was a Yakuza person, he passed away recently, and the guy's like, oh, I'm relieved, kind of thing. But anywho, he interviewed some people, some former Yakuza people that had to do with some of the organized crime in Okinawa, around a little after this game came out originally in 2009, and had them play the game to see how they felt about, you know, how realistic the depiction of organized crime is in this. And he said he was surprised that although, you know, this is obviously over the top, the Yakuza, former Yakuza people that played the game said that they were surprised at how well the people who made this game studied, did their homework on the subject, because they said, yeah, things like this were happening a while back in Okinawa, of trying to get people's deeds for their land, and using organized crime to push people out of areas to get more land for resorts and, you know, and whatnot. Especially for, like, even now, you know, the Henoko area, for trying to get people out of there to expand the U.S. Navy bases there. That's still going on even now, but yeah, they were saying that they're surprised that they did a good amount. They obviously did a good amount of homework on some of the things that were going on in the criminal underground over there. apparently. Although it's very over the top.
Yeah. Well, this game is very over the top, but a lot of the subjects on it are absolutely true.
Yeah, they definitely do a good amount of homework for the topics that they cover. So it says, I was surprised when I learned about the pinky cutting thing. Oh, yeah. That is definitely I guess a shocking thing. But I think like one of the reasons why they cut the pinky off, I think, was that the main weapon that a Yakuza uses is a dosa. That's a short Japanese sword or a blade, right? And when you cut your pinky finger off, apparently you can't grip those very hard anymore. So it's kind of, I guess it would be kind of putting them in their place that it's almost impossible for them to climb the ranks when you do cut your pinky off, at least in battle, because you can't really use those dosu anymore. And also, your punches are a lot more weaker when you can't make a firm fist when you lose your pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... I do kind of like the color palette in this. It's a little bit more vibrant than the newer one, huh?
Yeah.
The colors are a little bit more popping.
Yeah. Well, no billboard for farming
Yeah.
and selling stuff.
I actually kind of like the ultra casual farming mini games that they have in the Yakuza series.
Yeah. You get your own little hustle.
Yeah. So it says, I like the cooking was in Ishin. Yeah, those were fun. They're also in the new there's, since you're running the orphanage, you can grow your own in the backyard. You have your own little garden where you can grow vegetables, and then you can use those vegetables to cook dishes for the orphans, or the kids in the orphanage, and that's pretty fun too. There's a lot of different menus in the newer one.
Yeah. You have a bunch of original dragon recipes.
Yeah, dragon curry and dragon Peking duck. So it says I'll need to finish it someday. Yeah, it is a pretty it does have a lot of volume game wise, a lot of mini games and side quests. So yeah, it does have a really cool ending. So when you have the time, definitely. I would assume probably the biggest hurdle in that, though, is the grinding for money, because it costs a lot of money to upgrade the swords.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, considering how much I like JoJo, it's weird this series hasn't completely blown me up. Well, I absolutely love the Yakuza series, but it definitely is its thing, huh?
Yeah.
It's one of those games that I don't know. It's almost kind of a vibe. If you can, it really sticks with some people, and I get that it doesn't stick with some people too. Huh?
Yeah. But after a point, it becomes like family.
Yeah, it does kind of. It kind of feels like you play the game to go back to meet old friends once in a while.
Yeah. And it's like Kiryu is a family member to you.
Yeah. Whenever I like see these rippling water effects from the PS3 and like 360 era,
Yeah.
it always reminds me of how that blew my mind back in the days. Like,
Yeah. These water effects.
yeah, the water rippling and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. This stuff first started happening during the Dreamcast, and it was like wall kind of thing.
Yeah, really early versions that were like
Yeah.
more texture based. I guess probably the closest to that was like some of the transparent animations for like different effects in like Soul Calibur, especially did that a lot. Maybe.
Yeah. I have no idea how you saved in this game. Can you not save in this game?
I think you go to his room. So it says Soul Calibur, my favorite fighting game alongside Guilty Gear, or I should say Coal Calibur. And then Sally says, writes, Soul, not Coal. Yeah, Soul Calibur is one of my favorite fighting games too. I think it's one of like the perfect matches between like casual and also easy to pick up but really hard to master. I think it's one of the best examples of that type of gameplay. Oh wait, you push A right there and go into your room.
Oh. It wasn't open, so I didn't notice that.
Okay, yeah, you can save here.
Old games, you had to go to specific spots to save.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like the newer ones where you can pull up the menu and you save from your cell phone or your smartphone.
Yeah, Soul Calibur is definitely one of my favorite fighting games too.
Yeah. So much memories.
Guilty Gear is one of those weird ones where I was playing it in the arcades, the very first one.
Yeah.
I played in the arcade a little bit, and then a little bit after that, I kind of went away from fighting games for a while.
Yeah.
And by the time I got back to fighting games, it was like only on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
I was like, well, and later on, I bought it on the PlayStation too, but like never really had the time to get back into it. I've been meaning to buy the newest one because it looks really cool, but maybe next time when it's on sale. The complete edition recently came out, so
yeah.
So
They added so much characters and season passes. So.
yeah. So it says I will always love Soul Calibur too. So it says Strive is super good. Oh well, I'll definitely. I was actually the last time it was on sale, I was thinking of maybe getting it, but recently, like I said, the complete season pass Ultimate Edition one came out, so I'll definitely get that when it's on sale next time. Then, apparently the story for Strive is really good too. So. Yeah, Soul Calibur 2 is awesome, huh?
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Well, Berman here has the awesome story of having his art in the original Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, there is an illustration that I drew that is in the original Dreamcast version of it. So it says the music especially Confrontation is one of my favorite tracks. Oh yeah, the music in Soul Calibur is awesome. Yeah. So it says, oh really? Oh yeah. The Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur an illustration that I sent in was used in that version of it.
The original Dreamcast version. They were doing a special thing of like they'll put fan art in it.
Yeah, which was cool. There's a lot of art in it though, so it's not like super special or anything.
But
this was a long time ago.
That's just out of a number of people. Though.
Well, yeah, I guess it was cool. It was cool when I got the notification, like a mail sent back to me saying that was really cool. So I was really excited back then. But so it says, I guess it's time to go play Soul Calibur 1 Dreamcast to see your art then. Well, that would be an honor, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. If you still have it, Bourbon here was using a different synonym back then.
Yeah. It wasn't bourbon, so yeah. I kind of forgot what name I was using back then, but
well, I remember, but I'll leave it up to Salyev to figure out who it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it says, please tell me the Tucky with huge boobs wasn't you. There were a couple of Tucky with huge boobs in that, so that one's probably not me. But
well,
Tucky is one of my favorite characters, so I did draw Tucky, but it was one with a lot of characters.
Yeah, it wasn't just one character.
Yeah, and this was a long time ago. I was pretty young when I sent that in, so it's actually I'm actually pretty embarrassed of my art. I actually never really look at what I draw later on because I'm like, man, I suck so much, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you don't know sucking until you're like me or mere mortals that can't draw shit. Well, when you do have the chance, you should try looking through the ones and trying to guess which one is bourbon. Then.
Okay.
I was finally able to figure out how to save, so I guess this is about a good time to stop.
Okay. You want to wrap it up for this week then?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, thank you for coming by, Salyev, and for the first time in a few weeks, the Meeblmeister came by. And anybody else who happened to pass by thinking I was playing Yakuza Kiwami 3, well, it was the OG 3.
Oh, wait a second.
What?
Sorry, I've sent a link. Is it this one? Let me see. Nope, not that one. Unfortunately, I wasn't that professional back then. Still fairly young, so.
Yes, so there were some professional mangaka that had ones in that too.
Yeah. So.
Bourbon here did not draw the Bastard series, so.
Yeah. So it says, God damn it, I'll have to check all those. Well, if you have the time. There's a lot of cool art in there, so it's not a waste of time, but yeah, you don't have to go out of your way to look for all of them.
Well, you can take your time and go through it. Next week or something, you can see if you get it right next time.
Yeah.
But we can leave that suspense for another time.
Okay.
But thank you for coming by, and anybody else who did, and have a good week, and hope to see you again.
And again, thanks, Salyev. And thank you, Meebo Rainy Meebo, for coming on. So it says, yeah, I think I got the one. Thanks for the stream. I'll be seeing you next week. Okay, well, you can next week you can send me a link and I can tell you if you're right or not. So we can, like Jenny said, we can keep the suspense there. So again, thanks, and I'll be ending the stream for this week in Japanese then. Again, thanks, Salyev. And Salyev says, thanks for the stream. I'll be seeing you next week. ということでね、今週はここまでっていうことでね、龍が如く3、HD 版、極みじゃない方のね、HD 版をちょっとね、最新のやつを見比べてみた感じ、割と結構いい感じだよね、今見ても。
そうだね。
ということで、こんな感じで毎週配信をしております。Twitch の方でね、毎週、金曜0時よりね、だいたい配信しておりますので、よかったら誰でも遊びに来てよろしいのでね、いいのでね、ウェルカムです。過去の配信の分は YouTube にアーカイブとして載せておりますので、YouTube の方のね、検索バーをクリックして zGennyy で検索しますと、この配信の主、主であるね、ジェニーのチャンネルが出てきますので、いいね、読者登録、通知をオンにしてくださると我々喜びます。ということで、またその日までぜひ、良い1週間をお過ごしください。それではまたのお越しを。See you!
バイバイ。